Hi, Dr. Phil Phlox here, also known as John Billingsley. I volunteer for the Hollywood Food Coalition. We serve terrific meals to the unhoused 7 nights a week. We assist 100 nonprofits with their food needs. We work with community partners to address food insecurity in Southern California. If you're in LA, come and volunteer with us at hofoco.org/volunteer, and any Federation credits you can spare go a long way.
The Trek Geeks Podcast Network is proud to have Fansets as its presenting sponsor. Fansets is the place for amazing pin collectibles with over 300 officially licensed Star Trek pins and new releases every month.
Keep listening for a special discount code good on your next order at fansets.com. Just for Discovering Trek listeners. Fansets. Our pins have character. Oh, God.
Captain Freeman's leaving, Rutherford's malfunctioning, and the Cerritos is taking it all off. It's time for an amazing season finale of Star Trek Lower Decks, so jump in the turbo lift, hit that down button, folks. My name is Dan Davidson, and we are Discovering Trek Lower Decks. Thanks so much for joining us, and welcome to Discovering Trek, the Star Trek Universe Companion, presented by Fansets. Episode 10, First Contact, gave us an amazing Season 2 finale and the very first cliffhanger in animated Star Trek history. Lots to talk about, and we want to get right to it, so let me introduce my esteemed crew right now. Rank doesn't mean anything here with this group. We are all considered the lower decks of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network. Want to welcome back Sara, Kasey, and Bill. Guys, just a fantastic season that shows just how great Mike McMahon is at writing for this season. So, Sara, how you doing over there in the Canadian area of the world?
Oh, great, eh? Oh, so good.
Hi, Bill. Kasey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm glad we all rank the same.
We do. We're all lower deckers, Bill. I'm just kidding. I just spent a long time recording with you earlier today, so I just saw you a little while ago. But it is always good to see you here on Discovering Trek Lower Decks.
Thanks, eh?
Wait a minute. You're in Merrimack.
Oh. Sorry, it's my Canadian heritage coming to the fore. I apologize.
That's true. That's true. You do have some of that in there. Yeah, so as we talked about a minute ago, First Contact, Season 2 finale, we're all very disappointed that the season is over, but we're very excited because it was a great episode. So I can't wait to start with the discussion. But before we do start talking about the episode, Bill, why don't you tell our listeners how they can get in touch with us to give us their thoughts on First Contact?
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Sure thing, Dan. So listeners, we definitely want to hear from you and what you thought about the season finale of Lower Decks Season 2, and even the season as a whole. And the best way to do that is to get yourself the Trek Geeks mobile app for your iOS or your Android device. Download it and tap the More button for a whole bunch of ways to get in touch with us. And while you're at it, you can check out our brand new app exclusive shows that you just won't be able to get anywhere else. Head to trekgeeks.com/app to get the details. Plus, you can join the most positive Star Trek Facebook group there is. It's Camp Kittimer, and it's the official Facebook group of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network. It is so easy to join. Head on over to the Book of Faces, search for Camp Kittimer, answer a few quick questions that are so easy, Kasey even figured them out. And we're going to let you right in to take part in all the fun and the positive discussion. Just like Kasey, it is incredibly simple. So simple. And a big thank you to our wonderful admins, Haley, Jackie, and Fark, for the amazing job they do running the camp. Please remember, though, that any comments or messages you leave us in any of these places may be used in a future episode. Dan.
Nicely done. See, I would have screwed that up because I always do. You did a fantastic job because you're awesome.
Black alert. Black alert.
Before we start our discussion, folks, we want to warn our listeners that this episode of Discovering Trek Lower Decks does contain spoilers. So if you haven't watched the season finale of Star Trek Lower Decks Season 2, stop listening right now. Head on over to Paramount Plus or wherever you watch Lower Decks. Watch the season finale, then head back on over to Discovering Trek. Failure to do that will put you at high risk to find out plot developments and character details for First Contact.
Spoiler alarm. Spoiler alarm.
I like it. We're gonna turn that into a thing next season. So speaking of next season, we're at the end of this season so it's really not talking about next season at all. But it's sad. 10 episodes. You know, what are the days of 26 episodic TV episodes in a series? It's sad.
It's the good old days.
I'm missing.
That's how you wind up with episodes like Aquiel.
Yeah.
Oh, Rewind's got to do that. I'm specifically saving that for a live rewind one day.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
That'll be fantastic.
So lots to talk about in this episode, and I'm not trying to, move us forward, but I just want to move us forward. I got to say one thing.
Right.
I'm going to start right off the top. First she spilled hot chocolate on Captain Picard, and she was a nervous, bumbling engineer. Now she's a captain. Way to go, Sonya Gomez. There is hope for me yet, Bill. It was great to see her. There were some rumors of her showing up to do some voiceover work earlier before the season started. She's captain of a pretty nice-looking starship, man.
She really is. I'm really kind of digging that starship. I actually like that better than the Excelsior on which it's designed. It's just got those nice Sovereign class lines. It looks pretty hefty. I just never liked the rounded nacelles on the Excelsior class. Yet I digress. Good to have Sonya Gomez back. We knew that she was coming back based on an interview that the actress gave earlier this year. Mm-hmm. She kind of accidentally spilled the beans. That comment went away. But we knew it was going to happen, and I thought it worked really well here.
It really did. It was good to see that they were, Freeman and Gomez were friends back in the day. And of course, it plays a critical role in what goes on with this episode. This episode, it does have some seriousness to it. But Sarah, what did you think?
I have a question.
A question. Since before your sun burned hot in space, and before your race was born, I have awaited a question.
Which episode of TNG was the hot chocolate spilling? Can you remind me, please?
It was Q Who, if I remember correctly. It was the episode where the Borg were first introduced because she was all freaking out about the people that were killed, and Geordi started yelling at her, and so yeah.
Oh man, I only saw your comment earlier today, and I was like, whoa! I remember this character. I didn't ever see. This is why I need to be on these multiple. Because Rewind, we don't even talk about Star Trek half the time, so I don't know what's going on. But you guys actually pay attention and know stuff, and I learn something every single time. This is amazing.
It would have been great if she'd actually had hot chocolate in the shuttle bay. That would have been
at
awesome.
some point. Yeah.
Or if she had it like how Sulu had coffee on the bridge of the Excelsior. If she had like hot chocolate next, on her little like captain chair, that would have been kind of
Didn't Sulu have tea?
Tea, coffee, whatever, dude.
Okay, some of us watch the episodes.
That was actual movie, so just saying.
Thank God you're on a podcast network called Trek Geeks. It's,
Anyway.
Kind of know.
So she's captain of a starship that is going to have first contact, and of course this turns into a whole big theme for the episode of the danger that another unknown anomaly comes up. I can't say anomaly too often too well, so I'll just leave it at that. But a great episode, had a lot of stuff going in, a lot of character development, as we've seen the entire season, which I thought was really pretty cool. And I will say one of the things that was most interesting to me, Sarah, was in the episode, it went by so quick. Let's talk about Rutherford for a second and the fact that he has to delete his own memories, which is a little scary in itself. But at one point, one of these memories seems to be that his implants were being installed for maybe less than okay reasons. And I'm thinking Section 31, and I'm definitely saying that this is going to be a plot point next season.
I think you're totally right. I found this whole lifestyle that he's forced to live to be like horrifying and ironic. As a senior government records analyst, I know the importance of deleting files and doing proper records management, and to think that he has to do this on a daily basis for his life, I feel bad for the guy. They got to fix that. He shouldn't be running out of space.
I could use some of that storage for memories, Bill.
You really could. Can I just say that aspect of the episode really kind of made me tear up a little bit? Because he really was in an emotional distress on what to do with those memories, because he didn't want to lose them. He values his friendship with Tendi so much that he made duplicate copies just in case.
Triplicate?
Triplicate copies.
And Kasey, that's one of the things I was going to say is he's scared that he's going to go through that again and lose those friendship memories with Tendi. And that, I got to admit, Bill, you're right. That's an emotional part of the episode.
Yeah.
Kasey?
Yeah, I'd stuff because now since he was backing them up 3 times, did he get rid of all 3 backups when he did the purge, or just kept one set of backups so that he could create new memories and build off of that?
And
I don't know.
Shouldn't he have some kind of USB port that he can just plug a thumb drive
Can he
in
upload
and put
to
them
the
in a
computer?
desk later? Yeah, I mean you would think technology, 24th century and all.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
There should be more space when you're out in space.
Truer words, never
Yeah.
spoken.
Thank you. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt.
You're definitely the smartest of the 4. That is for
Most
sure.
smartest.
Most smartest.
Bill, what do you got? What do you got for
SMRT.
stuff that you liked about this episode?
Can I just say that
finale?
Mike McMahon really knows how to write the hell out of a season finale?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he wrote last year's, he wrote this year's, and the pacing and timing of this is flawless. There are no wasted moments in this episode, and it's a joy to watch. Like last season's finale, it's a mini movie. With the exception of that whole cliffhangery bit at the end, which I'm really excited about. There's a lot that happens here, and it's a testament to the script because it's tight.
If memory serves, little Star Trek title there. If memory serves, wasn't he working on this finale when we talked to him on the podcast last year?
I don't know. I'm out of space because of my primary, secondary, tertiary, and secondary, tertiary backups. I'm not sure.
Okay, I think he was talking about he was writing the finale for it, so that's kind of cool. But well said, Bill. I like it. Let's talk about what you just brought up for a second. And Sarah, I'll start with you. A cliffhanger. We have a cliffhanger in a Star Trek animated series, and it was a cliffhanger that was completely unexpected from what you thought could be the cliffhanger, and it worked on every possible level.
This was more cliffhanger than the movie Cliffhanger with Sly Stallone. I mean, this was great. That's a movie, right? Did I make a good reference?
Yeah,
You made a great reference. I was gonna say the latest episode of Sesame Street is probably a better cliffhanger than the movie Cliffhanger, but that's just me.
Wow.
No, this was the thing that left me with this episode wasn't just the fact that there goes the captain and it was the complete left turn from what we were expecting. It's the fact that when we come back to this ship next season 3, it's going to be a whole new group of people. I mean, we're going to have possibly Ransom as captain. We're going to have freaking Jennifer as maybe the new friend hanging out with the group, and Tendi's going to be maybe looking towards hitting up the senior staff there. So not only are we going to be missing the crucial captain, but everyone's going to be jumbled around and in new positions, and it's going to be really. I'm really excited. This was a great cliffhanger.
And Kasey, don't you think that'll work if they do that? They did that kind of at the beginning of this season when they were on the Titan a few times, and then that kind of just went away. I think that this type of cliffhanger with what Sarah just talked about the possibility for the beginning of season 3, opens up a whole lot of possibilities for a crew that we're already familiar with.
Oh, yeah. It changes a bunch of storylines. So you keep things fresh. And I think, like you said, I think we'll see a resolution with Captain Freeman within the first couple of episodes next season. But you just start keeping new threads going. So as you close out certain other things, you open up more new possibilities. And it's, hey, what's going on with Jennifer? Okay, is Tendi now going to be on the bridge all the time? What's going on? Boimler, let's face it. I mean, he drowns to save his crewmates. So once again, there's another thing where Boimler is showing leadership potential. So then what's going to happen with that of all these things going on? And I mean, I love how the producers and writers of the show don't give us what we feel we want. They give us what they think works best for the show. And I appreciate that from them.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Kasey. I mean, this season, this crew has had to learn a lot about working together. Several of those episodes have had different team ups, which have been great. It's had them all coming together, both lower deckers and upper deckers, and then together as two groups working toward a common goal. And next season, they're going to have to work together to exonerate Captain Freeman. I think that's really what it's going to come down to.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with that storyline, because as I talked about a few minutes ago, it was very unexpected to see what happened with the finale, with Freeman being arrested. Pakled planet destroyed. And I'm going to throw a curveball out there to you guys. I'm kind of wondering if this is some kind of a deception and that it really was not destroyed. Section 31 I talked about earlier with regards to Rutherford. Is maybe Section 31 involved with what's going on here? I got to say the guards and the officer that was in the ready room or in the observation lounge was a little shady to me. I thought it was a little strange. Maybe it was just Federation security being the way they are. And are the Pakleds really still a threat? Are they really destroyed? I mean, there's all kinds of things. They didn't say anything definitive in that final scene before the to be continued splashed on the screen. So there's all kinds of possible things that could happen. Kasey, what do you think?
Oh yeah, well, good for them. You do that to keep things open. So as you're writing the next few months, you're not cornered in anything. I don't think it's a Section 31 thing. I think the Pakleds maybe blew it again, where they tested the one bomb and they go, well, we'd want to see what this bomb would have done on Earth. Let's see what happens here. And there's just not, I mean, they're not intelligent as how they're portrayed. So you could see what's going on. And then the security officers, I just saw them as being security officers. Like, okay, hey, I got orders to bring you in. Here's what's happening. I'm not going to give any emotion to anything. Just come with us.
Okay. Sarah, let me ask you this in regards to what Kasey just said. So the Pakleds are this big threat at the end of last season, and they're a threat all through this season. Does it take away anything if they were stupid enough to blow up their home planet, even though we've always talked about how stupid they are?
No, I think it would actually be really fitting. I don't like the idea of the Pakleds being an actual threat, personally.
Yeah.
It's not a huge thing. Like, you know, it's Pakleds. Meh.
Bill,
meh,
what do you think?
in the words of Bill.
Let's ask the most Pakled person of the bunch. Bill, what do you think?
I quit.
Oh.
That only hurts because there's a little bit of truth in it. I'm not going to lie.
I kid.
I think the Pakleds are just dumb enough. I think that any group of people that have just enough information and no skill are dumb enough to do anything. And I think the Pakleds are a great example of that. I can believe that they blew up half their planet. If the Klingons could do it through mining and blowing up Praxis, I can believe that the Pakleds have a much lower bar with the Verubian bomb.
Do all of you think that the storyline with the Pakleds is over, or do you think it'll continue in some form? Or do you think they're still a threat? Let's put it that way.
I do.
Yeah.
Because they're still ships. They're going to want revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah,
whatever they call it.
Yeah. As well. Yeah.
They'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good threat.
You know what was disappointing in regards to the Pakled threat is we were all gung-ho about seeing duplicate Boimler and Riker and the Titan again in the finale. And was that disappointing for you guys that we didn't see that? Or do you think it held up enough with what was going on and all the curveballs and shocker moments that they threw in with this episode?
Absolutely wasn't needed. It would be a repeat. You repeat yourself.
Yeah,
True.
just knowing that they're out there, that's good.
You can't go back to the well too many times with Riker, or else it's going to become the Jonathan Frakes show.
Well, that's true.
And the Cerritos crew needs to demonstrate that they can stand on their own. I think they're evolving to the point where they're going to outgrow their secondary status.
Yes.
And I think that this episode was a great, sort of harbinger of that down the road. But they've got a lot of work to go.
Listeners, we want to take a moment, as we do each and every week, to thank Fansets for being our exclusive sponsor here on the Trek Geeks Podcast Network.
It's been a partnership that everyone here at Discovering Trek loves being a part of. The quality of pins is top-notch, the customer service is one of a kind, and Lou, John, and the entire Fansets team are not only great partners, they're great friends.
Yeah, that's for sure, Kasey. And they have new and awesome pins being released all the time. Your horror fans will love the new collection, which includes Jason, Freddy, and more. You DC fans will want to get your hands on the newest Firebrand or Alexander Luthor Jr. and even Aqualad pins. Yes, apparently there is an Aqualad. And of course, you Trek fans can add Admiral Vance, Dr. Gillian Taylor, and Monster Maroon Admiral Kirk to your collection right now over at fansets.com.
And as always, you get to save money each and every week just for being a Discovering Trek Lower Decks listener.
Get Bill some aqua. Get him a glass of aqua. quick.
I need Aqualad to come save me. Just head on over to fansets.com, place Aqualad and Monster Maroon, Admiral Kirk, and Jillian Taylor, and all of those pins that Dan mentioned in your cart, along with a whole bunch of other stuff, and enter the special discount code word Lower Decks. That's LOWERDECKS in all capital letters with no spaces. That's going to get you 10% off your entire order. And don't forget that U.S. customers will get free shipping if you spend $30 or more.
Fansets. Our pins have character, and we thank our friends at Fansets for being the exclusive sponsor of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network.
One of the things that I found a little eerie, but really cool at the same time, and this is going to show you how twisted I am, and all of you already know this, but the removing of the outer hull on the Cerritos. I really thought that was a great story point. I really loved how it was a callback to Star Trek First Contact when they were trying to demagnetize the deflector array with the little devices that they had to pull out and turn. But was it just me? When all of the pieces of the hull were coming off, all I could think of were those things that we used to see in school books of like a skull with the musculature still showing on a face with like all the skin peeled off. That's what I saw when I saw the Cerritos. Bill? I can't wait for this response. I just can't.
I think you're prefacing your comments pretty much have said anything that any one of us would want to say.
I don't know. That was weird.
What is wrong with you?
He's the guy that drinks too much at Star Trek Las Vegas and goes to the bodies exhibit and then sees the ship.
Oh, that is writing that down for next year. That's
at the Luxor.
Putting that down right now. I've never been there. So,
it's actually going to be at Bally's because that's where it was last year or 2 years ago when my wife and I went.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a traveling body.
It's at the host hotel.
Oh,
look out.
Dan, go do that, but be eating beef jerky while you see that exhibit.
Okay, I will definitely do that. I don't know. I just thought it was cool for one thing. It was really
very cool. That, but think about that.
Yeah.
So smart of them to come up, Rutherford, to come up with this and to execute it. And they show once again, like you're all talking, the entire ship is becoming better.
Yeah.
They had 11 hours to do it. They do it, Then manually piloting through this stuff, doing everything that they can possibly do, and they succeed. And so, I mean, what a great finale.
And at the last second, they get that last panel off, which is where I want to kind of, I don't know if wrap things up is good about our discussion about what we're talking about, but let's bring in that one thing I think everybody wants to talk about a little bit we already mentioned that Boimler pretty much was ready to sacrifice himself to save the ship, to get that last panel demagnetized. And in order to do that, we were introduced to the newest race in Star Trek, the Dolphin people.
Or just dolphins?
Not a fan. That did nothing for me. I'm very sorry to say.
They didn't serve any kind of purpose whatsoever.
Oh,
boo!
That was line of the night.
That was better than any Farkism Dan has ever come up with.
Man.
I typed that in caps lock so I wouldn't forget to say it.
Very nice. I don't know, Bill. What do you think? We've been, I understand, you want to have that drama, but the whole area of the ship that you can only swim to, and they're a race that doesn't have hands, that they can do things that people with hands can do. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think?
I loved it. And I know I'm going to be the only person who did, because this is the payoff of a joke that's 35 years in the making.
Yep.
In the Star Trek: The Next Generation tech manual, you see on the Enterprise D cetacean ops. And people for decades have wondered, where did this come from? What do you mean? So there's like an operations center with dolphins and whales? Yep, that's exactly what it is. If you remember back at the beginning of this season, I said the running joke all season long should be, let's go to cetacean ops, and then they never show it to us. The only thing I'm bummed about is that we got it now and not at like the very end of the series. But I thought it was fantastic. I thought it propelled the storyline. Could I believe there's dolphin crew members? Sure, why not?
Casey, what do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, part of it is for sure storyline to make some real amplified danger of what they're already in and where Boimler's going to go. And you're like, when he first snugs himself through that area, and it's a little tight, but he gets through it. I was like, oh, that's coming back. Okay. And it's like, that's what, I mean, come on. Fears for all of us. I mean, you're in space, so you don't have the spacesuit working. You're drowning already. But then for all of us here that are on Earth with water, drowning scares the the crud out of me. Big time. So I bought that right away. And you get horny dolphins. You know, it was like, okay, the little bit of comedy there. And I know Sarah, Dan, Bill, come on. Y'all love horny dolphins.
Aren't those called something else? Like narwhals
Dolphins.
or something?
Yeah, I don't even know what the alien race
If I love
is
horny Magato, I've got to love horny dolphins.
And I got to say, right now, just putting it out there, there better be a pin of those things pretty soon, Fansets. Lou, you best get on your horse or get on your dolphin.
Get on your dolphin.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know. It just, for me, it didn't work. It can't, was it shoehorned in a little bit, maybe? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. It just
Did you not
weird.
like the comedy part of it? Because it's a very dramatic scene?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I think I'll have to go back and watch it again to see if I have the same reaction. But I don't know if it was just the comedy thrown into a very tense scene, or the fact that the only way to get to this plate on the hull is to go through an aqueduct in order to unlock it. That can only be gotten to by someone who can breathe underwater, and the people that breathe underwater don't have the appendages to actually do it themselves. So who the hell designed the ship to have it just in that spot?
Well, that's why it's a California class vessel and only used for second contact. This doesn't happen on the D. You know what I'm saying? And Boimler was doing fine until his helmet cracked.
Well, that's true.
Well, was it a rip? I thought it was a rip in his shoulder where the water started coming in up into his suit.
I know his face mask cracked.
I think it was both, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. It was just a little different for me. Now, I didn't hate it. I just was like,
It
whatever.
sounds like it was too tropey to you. Too like when the coincidences always happen in shows or a movie. I hear you on that, Dan, where it's like, oh, really? That person is just happened to be there or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I
gotcha.
All right. I will be watching it again, so I'll have to see. So what else we got? Sarah, anything else we want to add in terms of first contact on your side over in Canada?
No, it was a great episode. It was a great season. I'm so sad to see it to be done, and I can't wait for the next one. So let's time warp into the future for season 3, please.
Absolutely. And Bill and Kasey, before I get to you, don't think that just because I didn't like the Dolphins part. This was a fantastic episode. This was one of the best episodes of the entire season. It was so great. It had so many great story points, but it was just that one thing that I was kind of But Bill, what do you think?
It's all right. We know you hated it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, as we continually have to remind people, and because we get comments on when these episodes are posted in various places, especially YouTube, just because we don't necessarily enjoy a particular element of an episode or a story doesn't mean we hated the episode or the story.
Right. True.
I think we can all agree this was a fantastic season finale.
Yes.
And we
One of
love
the
the
best.
show. So, we every now and then we get called out for something like that. Like, you guys need, I don't know why you guys hated this. It's like, no, we didn't hate it at all. We're just being honest about our feelings about things. And I think that's great, Dan.
Yeah, it shows that we're not, CBS shills or hacks or whatever. We have opinions. We can like things. We can dislike things. But like
You're not. Casey and I are.
Well,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
true. I can see he got the big CBS eye tattooed right on his head. But Kasey, what do you think? Any other final thoughts about this week's season finale?
Well, the CBSI is my tramp stamp, so let's get that right. Okay.
Sorry.
First off, but in this episode, I really wanted to point out the amazing visuals of the Federation ships. That
yeah.
was fantastic. That
Absolutely.
looked more 3D animation to me, and I was like, oh, they're bringing it this episode. Loved that they did that.
I love
They've
all
done-
the animation upgrades this year.
Exactly. I was just going to say,
Fantastic.
even just in the opening credits, the upgrades that they've done were really something that stood out. So just another hats off to the post-production crew and the animation crew over at Lower Decks. So another fantastic season. Season 2 is in the books. And again, I said last year that Lower Decks first season was one of the best first seasons of Star Trek. And I got to say, Star Trek's Lower Decks season 2 is right up there with the best of the season 2s of all the Star Treks out there. So lots of stuff to digest over the season. Watch it again. Go to Paramount Plus. Have a great time and enjoy the finale and get ready for season 3. It's not going to be for a while. So Kasey, no homework for you this week, man. But now that another great season has wrapped, what's coming up next here on Discovering Trek?
Oh my gosh, listeners, we are thrilled to be welcoming the next chapter of Discovering Trek in the coming weeks. Make sure to join Mike and Emily Bovia as they ponder and talk about Star Trek Prodigy all season long with Discovering Trek Prodigy, premiering after Episode 1 of the latest Star Trek series beginning on October 22nd. And just a few weeks after that, we'll all be back for Discovering Trek Discovery as we examine Season 4 starting November 18th. Until then, remember that you can subscribe to Discovering Trek by searching for us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or by downloading the Trek Geeks Podcast Network app.
Don't forget, you can support Discovering Trek and the Trek Geeks Podcast Network by subscribing to bonus content on Patreon. Get access to the unedited audio of all our podcasts and a lot of other perks.
And boy, this week's is going to be a real joy.
Ooh, boy. Look out.
We want to take a moment to recognize the following amazing producers of Discovering Trek, and we truly are so grateful for their support. Mike Bovia, hey, that name sounds familiar. Chaz Bradshaw, Kyle Castillo, Peter Craig, Andy Davenport, Craig Ewing, Jackie and Chris Hackney, Kimberly Hartman, David Hood, Julianne Jordan, Lionel Marchand, Matt McGonigal, Jim McMahon, Darren Metcalf, Charlie Mulvey, Sean O'Halloran, Jamie Rogers, Casey Shafsky, Jim Stoffel, Chris Tribuzio, Ken Tripp, Christina Werther, and the lovely and talented Jess Vashon.
If you would like to support Discovering Trek and the Trek Geeks Podcast Network, beam on over to patreon.com/trekgeeks, where subscription levels start at $2 a month.
Dose. For even more great Star Trek discussion, please come check out the other member podcasts on the network. In addition to this show, Discovering Trek and its various iterations. We've got Lower Decks, we got Enterprise, we got Discovery, we got Prodigy. We have Rewind, hosted by Sarah, Polytrek's 5-Year Mission, Deep Space Pride, Infinite Trek, The Divine Treasury, and Sci-Fi Sisters. And of course, we welcome Drawn to Trek, Science Station 2, and With the First Link to our network family as the latest additions to the Trek Geeks Podcast Network. You can find all of our podcasts, including where to listen, by visiting trekgeeks.com/listen. The Trek Geeks Podcast Network, no one talks Trek like we do.
No one.
No one, I say.
Thank
I dare
God.
say no one.
I said good day.
Good day. Well, everybody, another season has come and gone, and I really think it's safe to say that Lower Decks has become one of the most complete Star Trek series out there, even after only 2 seasons. It's been an amazing ride with great stories, great callbacks, and great Star Trek messages. I just got to give a very special thanks to my amazing co-hosts of this show, Sarah, Bill, Kasey. I couldn't have done this without you. You make it so much fun coming in here each and every week to talk about the episodes. I love getting your thoughts on every episode and had a great time every week, like I said. The 4 of us are going to be back to discuss every episode of Season 4 of Discovery, starting in mid-November with Discovering Trek Discovery. But before that, as Kasey said, we hope you enjoy the newest Trek Geeks Podcast Network show with Mike and Emily Bovia as they bring you Discovering Trek Prodigy in just a couple of weeks. So thank you for coming along on this journey with us for Season 2. And until next time, never stop discovering.
Music for Discovering Trek is provided by 5-Year Mission. They're writing an original song for each episode of Star Trek. Hear more of their music at 5yearmission.net. Discovering Trek is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
looking at?